how do you go to how it's been hard for me to kind of make sense of this when I was thinking about doing this match reaction, because I was like, Spurs going to St. Mary's, where Southampton, who are the bottom of the table in the Premier League, struggling for goals, struggling in relegation, against a squad of Spurs who won against Nottingham Forest 3-1. And again, Antonio Conte naming an unchanged squad basically for this game, with a three-man defense of Romero, Dyer, and Longley. Porro and Davies kind of get their start. Porro in the wing-back positions, and with Skip and Højbjerg in the middle. So Son and Richarlison to supply Kane. On the other hand, Southampton made 3 changes that lost to Brentford 2-0. Lavia replaces Diallo in midfield, and Walcott came in, and Stuart Armstrong get the nod before Sulemana and Alcaraz behind the striker. Behind the striker, who has not been scoring a lot of goals. That is Shea Adams. Welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga, and this is after what I had just seen. I waited because I had a feeling that Antonio Conte might do something crazy, and he actually did. So I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about both the game and also what I feel about Antonio Conte and his press conference, which just went viral right now, where he was absolutely livid. Livid is the word, and was basically saying that just sack me now. Levy, just sack me. It's a little disheartening to see the way it went, and let's do the match reaction now. An absolute insane game at St. Mary's. Somehow that ends with nothing to separate the two sides, as Southampton and Tottenham play the roller coaster of 3-3 draw. 4 injuries in the first half. That was amazing to watch. I've never seen that happen, to have killed the many momentum and rhythm in the match. And let's talk about the injuries. Richarlison went, Davies went, and Perisic came in for him for Spurs. For the Southampton team, I think they lost Salisu. I think they lost. Yeah, I think they lost both of their. They lost Bednarek, and they lost. I think they lost Bella Kochap. Pretty early on in the first half. I'll just confirm that. Yes, Bella Kochap came in. Was Bella Kochap and Salisu came in for him, and Bednarek got subbed off and Maitland-Niles came in for him. For Spurs, Richarlison was subbed out like first 5 minutes. For Kulusevski came in, and Perisic came in for Davies, who was subbed out in 37 minutes. But then we almost thought that the match is gone. There's no momentum in this. It's going to be just be like a drab now, with two subs already made by both teams already. But then Son just found Pedro Porro completely unmarked, who smashed the roof of the net to have a score. And that was 1-0 lead for Spurs. The game started second half, very quick start. And then they just went flying. The first minute, they scored less than a minute of the second half, with Shea Adams getting an easy, I would say, a good ball from Theo Walcott to tap into for the goal. But then, it basically was like Theo Walcott was the game changer. Like, he kept building, because it was immediately in the 66th, 55th minute that Harry Kane penalty was given to Spurs to make it 2-1. But then they kind of and then Perisic scored an amazing goal at 74th minute. But Theo Walcott gave them one more chance to have scored a goal to make it 3-2 in the 77th minute. And then it was like, okay, like they just need to kind of, the host, like they just need to kind of watch this out. And what happened basically, as I said, in the host came on the second half, Southampton came on the second half, flying and managed to equalize less than a minute, only to concede twice more, as I said, with Kane and with Perisic. Ex-Arsenal, that's the fun part here. Ex-Arsenal forward Theo Walcott gave Saints something to build, and the job could be completed in the 92nd minute when Sarr's kick on Maitland-Niles gave Ward-Prowse the chance to put his side level from the spot, which was a penalty, an opportunity the set-piece specialist took with aplomb. Both coaches will need to decompress off a spectacle that lasted until more than 100th minute. Southampton are back in action on April 2 when they played back to London to play, when they travel to London to play West Ham. Tottenham returned to the pitch on April 3rd, which is against Everton. We have to understand there is a 2-week break for the international break happening starting after this weekend. A lot of time to ponder, a lot of thoughts for managers. But that's how it ended. It's almost like Spurs gave up. Of course, we know that the substitutions that were made by Conte around the 85th minute were more defensive. He got Emerson for Pedro Porro. He got Sarr for Kulusevski. I'm just amazed by, they had a chance to go top three, but then they're now stuck at, Spurs is now stuck at 49 points with 28 games played, and fourth, with Newcastle having 2 games ahead of them, still to be played. I don't see Spurs kind of holding onto that lead. But then that's what kind of came in Conte's amazingly furious press conference, where he's basically blasted all his 11 players that he said he saw 11 players on the pitch who did not want to play like a team, who were they were just playing for themselves. And I'll just try to find what he said. He says, Tottenham story is this: 20 years, there's the owner, and they have never won something. Why? They're used to it here. They don't play for something important. They don't want to play under pressure or stress. Tottenham story is this: 20 years, there's this owner, and they have never won anything. He just went crazy. He said, I don't want to hide anything anymore. He doesn't see the squad. He doesn't see the way they play. He's basically saying that it's difficult. It's difficult for him to kind of think about the way they're playing. Of course, you don't see any team spirit, any and he says, here's always the same every season. The club has responsibility for the transfer market. The coach has responsibility for the players. Where are the players? I see only 11 players that play for themselves. I see selfish players that don't play. They want to help each other and don't put their heart into this. There's no fire. There is no desire. You need to have this very important. When you are not a team, you can't improve. Here we play for the badge. We play to make Tottenham fans proud of us. You need fire in your eyes. This is unacceptable also for the fans. They follow us, pay for the ticket, and this performance is unacceptable. Here's always the team every season, no matter who's the manager. If they want to continue in this way, they can change the manager. A lot of managers, but the situation cannot change, believe me. It's just and the best thing you still find excuses for the players, excuses. Keep going. You only can do the excuses. My future, the lost confidence. Keep going. Protect them. Come on. They're used to hear that Tottenham, they don't play for something important. We are not a team. We are 11 players that go into the pitch. I see selfish players that don't want to help each other and don't want to put their heart. This is going to break everybody's heart as a Spurs fan. But this has been the reality as well, right? Spurs fans have understood that this has been their frustration. This has been their Achilles heel almost. Like they've never played for something important. Pochettino, the only manager who could take them to the Champions League final. But then, they've spent so much money. They've got Antonio Conte, but they have to back him up. They have to believe in the vision of the manager to be able to see the benefits and reap and kind of have the fire. I would say Antonio Conte will be sacked over the next 2 weeks, and there will be an interim coach coming in for Spurs, because this is directly questioning Levy and the ownership, which they've never liked. But then, good game for Southampton, who basically took a point away. They're 23 points, and not clear from safety, definitely, but then much closer considering Leicester City and Everton drew as well. But yeah, that's kind of, this is going to be interesting. What happens with Antonio Conte after this match? Spurs, where do they go from this? I don't see anywhere in my mind. Top 4, definitely not. They will, but then this is going to be interesting for this is going to be very interesting for Spurs fans to kind of see how this kind of plays out. Let me know in the comment section below what do you think. Do like this video, do share, and do subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.